Welcome back to the Underdog podcast. It is just you and me tonight, and I want to have a real conversation about something that keeps a lot of us awake at 3 a.m. We grow up hearing these golden rules, right? We are told that winners never quit, and quitters never win. We are fed this constant diet of hustle culture that says if you just grind hard enough, if you just wake up at 4 a.m. and drink enough green juice, you can force the universe to give you what you want. But what if that is a lie? What if the ladder you are climbing so frantically is leaning against the wrong wall? We are taught that effort equals success. But I have realized something recently, and maybe you have felt this too. Finding the right person or the right career is hard, but letting go of the wrong one, that is infinitely harder. We are terrified of the sunk cost. We tell ourselves, I have already put 3 years into this degree, or we have been dating for 5 years, or I have invested $10,000 into this business. We think that if we just push a little harder, things will turn around. But deep down, in that quiet place you only visit when you are alone, you already know the answer. You know it is over. You are just afraid to look the truth in the eye. Staying in a situation that is draining your soul does not prove you are strong. It just robs you of your future. A poet once said that no matter where you go, the past is a foreign country. You cannot live there. Yet, we let our past investments, whether it is time, money, or emotion, hold our future hostage. Think about the stock market. We have all heard the horror stories. Someone buys a stock, and it starts tanking. Instead of selling and cutting their losses, they double down. They think, it has to go back up. They pour more money into a sinking ship, hoping for a miracle, until they have lost their life savings. Now, apply that to your heart. How many of us have loved someone who could not love us back? It feels like you are being shredded from the inside out. You are fine during the day, distracted by work and emails, but at night, the silence is deafening. You know this relationship is a dead end. You know you are the only one trying, but you keep texting, you keep showing up, you keep breaking your own heart because you have already invested so much. Persisting in the wrong direction is like walking into quicksand. The more you struggle, the more you hustle without direction, the deeper you sink. The only way to survive quicksand is to stop fighting, lay back, and get out of the trap. You have to stop moving in the wrong direction before you can move in the right one. I really admire people who can just walk away. It is not cold. It is not heartless. It is disciplined. It is a form of supreme intelligence to say, this is not working, and I am not going to let it take one more day of my life. There is a brilliant story about this from the business world. Back in the 1960s, Konosuke Matsushita, the legend who built Panasonic, made a massive bet. He poured a fortune into developing a large-scale mainframe computer. He wanted to compete with the giants. But the market was dominated by IBM. They owned the game. Other massive companies like Hitachi and Fujitsu were fighting over the scraps. Matsushita looked at the data. He looked at the competition. Despite his board of directors screaming at him, despite the millions of dollars already spent, he pulled the plug. He stopped the project completely. He realized that if he kept fighting a war he could not win, it would bankrupt the whole company. So he pivoted. He went back to what they were good at, consumer electronics. That decision to quit the computer race is the only reason Panasonic became a household name. He taught us a valuable lesson. Do not let the money you have already spent blind you to the money you are about to lose. Sometimes, the best way to save yourself is to stop. We see this in science too. There was a physicist named Yang Chen-ning. He's a Nobel Prize winner, a genius. But when he was young, he wanted to be an experimental physicist. He wanted to work in the lab with his hands. The problem, he was clumsy. There was a joke in the lab. Where there is a bang, there is yang. He kept breaking equipment. He could have let his ego drive him. He could have said, "No, I am going to prove them wrong." He could have spent 40 years being a mediocre experimental physicist. Instead, he looked in the mirror and admitted his weakness. He quit the lab and switched to theoretical physics. That pivot, that willingness to give up on a wrong path, led him to the Nobel Prize. If you are sprinting down a dead-end street, it does not matter how fast you run. You are never going to get where you want to go. Persistence without direction is just stubbornness in a fancy suit. There is a powerful perspective from Michael Bloomberg, one of the wealthiest men in the United States. He once said that in science, finding a dead end is actually a massive contribution to the world. Why? Because now, nobody else has to waste their time going down that same path. You have put up a sign that says, "Not this way." We need to apply that same logic to our own lives. The scariest thing is not hitting a wall. It is walking down a dead-end street for 10 years because you were too stubborn to turn around. Recognizing a mistake is not a failure. It is a pivot. It is data. And you need to be cold and calculating about it. The economist Thomas Sowell has this brilliant line that changed how I see the world. He said, "There are no solutions. There are only trade-offs. Everything has a price. Staying in a draining job has a price. Leaving it has a price. You are not looking for a perfect, pain-free solution because it does not exist. You are looking for the trade-off you can live with." Let me tell you a story about a woman named Vaya. You might not know her, but in the world of e-commerce, she is a titan. Back in 2016, she was already successful. She owned a chain of clothing stores that were pulling in serious money, about 1.5 billion in revenue. Most people would kill for that kind of stability. But she noticed something. People were coming into her stores, trying on clothes, and then pulling out their phones to check prices online. They were treating her expensive physical shops like free fitting rooms. Her sales started to dip, just a little at first. Her friends told her to ride it out. They said, "You spent years building this brand. You cannot just throw it away." But Vaya understood the concept of trade-offs. She knew that holding on to the past was costing her the future. So she did something radical. In the span of 2 weeks, she closed all 7 of her profitable stores. She fired the overhead. She took that entire sunk cost and burned it to zero so she could go all in on live streaming and digital commerce. It was a massive gamble. Everyone thought she was crazy. But because she was willing to kill the good version of her business, she found the great version. She became the queen of live streaming in China, selling billions of dollars in merchandise in a single day. She did not win because she worked harder. She won because she knew when to quit the game that was expiring and start the one that was beginning. So, why is this so hard for us? Why do we cling to things that hurt us? Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik effect. It is this glitch in the human brain where we remember unfinished tasks better than finished ones. Our brains hate loose ends. When you invest time in a person or a project and it does not work out, your brain screams, "This is not finished. Fix it." It creates a mental loop. You obsess over the what-ifs. You replay the arguments. You fantasize about the market turning around. This is the sunk cost haunting you. It is a ghost, and it occupies your most valuable asset, your attention. If your mind is full of the past, you have no room for the present. You are bankrupting your current potential to pay debts to a version of yourself that does not exist anymore. Your attention is your capital. It is the only thing you truly own. Every moment you spend trying to revive a dead relationship or a failing career path is a moment you are stealing from the person you could become. Real discipline is not just about showing up. It is about knowing when to leave. It is about looking at your life and saying, I am done paying for this mistake. So, here is my challenge to you tonight. What are you holding on to just because you are afraid of the empty space that will follow? What dead end are you trying to turn into a highway? Be brave enough to stop. Be brave enough to cut your losses. Because the moment you let go of what is weighing you down, you do not just stop sinking. You start to rise. Thank you for hanging out with me on the Underdog podcast tonight. I am here every Saturday, trying to figure this life thing out right along with you. If this conversation hit home for you, do me a favor, hit the like button and share this with a friend who needs to hear it. That is the best way to support the show. And hey, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What is one thing you need to quit this year to move forward? Let's talk about it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss our Wednesday book deep dives. Until next time, take care of your peace.